Hello, YouTube. This is Let's Talk Horror, and welcome back to another video. So, guys, we have some major news regarding the Child's Play television series, or I guess the Chucky television series, since that's the name of the show. So, in the last couple of days, we've gotten the release of a bunch of images. We've gotten a teaser trailer. We've gotten an official release date. We have an interview from Don Mancini, so there's a lot to unpack here. Let's get to the release date first. I think that's the most significant piece of news. The release date is October 12th. Yes, October 12th. That is significant for me and horror fans everywhere because that means in the same week, we are going to be getting not only the Child's Play television series now on the 12th, but just 3 days later, we're going to be getting Halloween Kills. How about that? We're going to be getting a major premiere on the small screen for one horror icon and a massive movie for another horror icon on the big screen. That week is going to be so fun. I love both franchises. I've said both franchises are near and dear to my heart. To get both in the same week is just outstanding. It's amazing. I can't wait. If October couldn't get any better for horror fans, where it's basically the month that we celebrate the horror genre, and now two of the great horror icons get their own special premieres, it's great. It's great, and I cannot wait. That week is going to be so exciting. But outside of the release date, we've got several images, and the big thing coming out of these images is how the doll looks. They are clearly returning the look to Child's Play 2, and Don Mancini even said in this interview, and we'll get to those quotes here in a minute, that they are going back to Child's Play 2. I like that, and I love the look of this doll. I think the Child's Play 2 doll is easily the best looking doll in the franchise, and this doll looks a lot better than that Child's Play 2019 doll. And I actually think that's a decent remake. I think that movie got a lot of unnecessary hate from people who were rooting for it to fail. But one of my big complaints about that movie was the look of the doll. It just didn't look right. I didn't love it at all. I didn't like it at all. So I'm really glad they're kind of going back to the roots in this way. And it's a good-looking doll from the images that should be on your screen now. It's a very good-looking doll. It looks a lot like the Child's Play 2 doll. Yeah, overall, I'm happy. This is a really good-looking Chucky doll. Now, I will say in the teaser trailer we got, the movement of the doll looked a little bit odd. I will say that. I don't know how I feel about that yet. I just felt like the movement of the doll when he's taking the knife out of his pocket, it just looked a little bit odd. So I noticed that. Don't know how I feel about that yet. But okay, let's get to these Mancini interview answers, or some of the interesting things he said. I have the Bloody Disgusting article up right now. He says this: one of the things I wanted to do is bring the franchise back to its Child's Play roots and have the protagonists be kids. But since, with the first couple of movies, we'd already delved into having little kids, I wanted to explore something different, so this time we're exploring young teenagers. He continues, over the years, I've heard that the consensus fan favorite among all the movies is Child's Play 2. I think one of the reasons for that is how Chucky looked in that movie and how the late director John LaFia, who passed away last year, shot Chucky. Our goal with the series was to bring Chucky's look precisely back to that. Tony Gardner and Peter Chavacco, I think that's how you pronounce it, have done a great job. I think fans are really going to love that. Okay, so those are the two big quotes. It looks like the big thing here is that the owner of the doll in this one is a teenager, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. For one, this kid looks like he's in high school from the images, and I don't know about you guys, but at my high school, we didn't have too many kids walking around with dolls. You obviously were past that point where you played with dolls or needed a doll or anything, so I don't know how I feel about that. I guess my question is it multiple teenagers or is it one teenager that is mostly affected by this? Because if it's a group of teenagers, I'm very much afraid that it's going to feel like a Stranger Things ripoff. And again, Child's Play 2019 kind of tried to have this group of kids thing, and it just didn't work. That was also another weak point of that movie. I hope they don't try to be a Stranger Things ripoff. I'm a little bit afraid of that. And then, obviously, again, Child's Play 2, once again, he says that, this is going to go back to the roots of Child's Play 2. I really hope he's right. It can't just be the look. It's got to be, the tone and the mood of that movie, too. I really hope he does that. And I like that, and that's what I love about Don Mancini. Say what you will about Don Mancini. He listens to the fans. He cares about the fans. He listens to the fans. When he tried to take the franchise into a more horror comedy direction, and the fans, for the most part, rejected that, he listened, and I respect that. And I may not love every direction he takes with this franchise, but I respect that he really listens to the fans, and I appreciate that. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to go over the plot synopsis, I guess, if you will, for this show as well. So let's dive into that a little bit. Still have the Bloody Disgusting article up here, because I thought that was interesting as well. In the series, after a vintage Chucky doll turns up at a suburban yard sale, an idyllic American town is thrown into chaos as a series of horrifying murders begins to expose the town's hypocrisies and secrets. Meanwhile, the arrival of enemies and allies from Chucky's past threaten to expose the truth behind the killings, as well as the demon doll's untold origins as a seemingly ordinary child who somehow became this notorious monster. Okay, so there we go. That's our plot synopsis. Sounds very, very interesting. I'm very interested about the idea of Chucky going after an entire neighborhood or town or whatever. That sounds very interesting to me because we haven't really seen that in the franchise. That really is a fresh take for this franchise. Usually he's going after just one kid, he's terrorizing one family. Or just a select group of people. If he's terrorizing an entire town, that's awesome. That kind of sounds Halloween-y to me. What is this town? What is the hypocrisies and secrets that this synopsis is referencing? I'm very intrigued by that. I'm very intrigued by that description. It does sound like it's a fresh take for this franchise, and I'm just really excited. I'm cautiously optimistic. Again, I have my concerns, but I'm cautiously optimistic. And finally, I see that Nick and Tosca, whatever, he's an executive producer. I'm not overly familiar with his work, but I will say this. Just a little side note. If you don't know, a couple of years ago, in 2015, when Paramount was trying to revive the Friday the 13th franchise, he wrote a script for them, and it was one of the many failed attempts by Paramount to actually get that reboot off the ground. But that Friday the 13th script was awesome. It's not fresh in my mind, but if you haven't read it, it's awesome. It was supposed to be set in the 1980s, so it was really ahead of its time. I read it a couple of years ago. I may have to read it again, but I remember really, really, really enjoying it. I like how he kept Jason as a zombie. And look, if you're in the mood for some Friday the 13th, because we're not getting anything else from that franchise, I highly, highly suggest you go and take a look. It's very easy to find. It's online. Just Google Nick and Tosca Friday the 13th script. You will be able to find it. It was really, really good. And I remember thinking, wow, it's really too bad this didn't get a shot to go into production, because that could have been a damn good Friday the 13th. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Very, very exciting. We finally have a release date for the Chucky TV series. We have all this new information. It's great. It's awesome. So subscribe and comment below your thoughts. How excited are you that this Chucky TV series will be premiering the same week as Halloween Kills? Thanks for tuning in today, guys, and I will see you guys later. Take care.